Main Street documentary, scene 1, take 1.
We are so excited to celebrate 40 years of the Main Street program here in Murfreesboro, and to go back and listen to the stories of how the Main Street program got started, from the City Hall to community leaders, businesses downtown rallying together. And then over the last 40 years, how the Main Street program has helped to revitalize the historic downtown. It's just exciting, and it's important to just pause and celebrate those people who have been instrumental in making our downtown grow in a healthy way.
I'm Ann Davis, and I served as the Assistant Community Development Director in the mid-'80s. It was there that I learned about a meeting that was being offered by the state of Tennessee about a brand new Main Street program. I walked into a room in the Department of Conservation, and there was a lovely lady there named Ann Toplovich, and she was the Tennessee Main Street Director. So I listened to Ann's amazing presentation. It all just sounded too good to be true, all about how you make your downtown vibrant economically, every way, in promotions and organization. And I went up to her at the end of the meeting and I said, Ann, I would really like to put Murfreesboro's name in the hat. I said, we'd like to apply. And she looked at me and she said, oh, Ann, that would be a great idea, but you're really way too late. The applications are due in 2 weeks. And so I looked at her and I said, well, would you mind if we try? And she looked at me rather doubtfully and she said, well, sure, you can try. So my first stop back in Murfreesboro was to Mayor Jackson's office. And Mayor Jackson was always open to great, new, innovative ideas. And I told him about this opportunity. And I said, Mayor Jackson, the only thing is that the applications are due in 2 weeks. And he said, Ann, what do we need to do? And so together we decided that we would hold a community meeting.
My first recollection of becoming involved with Main Street was when Joby Jackson called a meeting of some of the business people uptown, and I remember the name. Jack Weatherford was the first one I remember, Blake Tidwell, Bob Ely, Marty McCullough, and myself, and I felt very honored. At that time I was not with Murfreesboro Bank and Trust at that time. I was with the old Commerce Union Bank. I think what sort of helped us get a cohesive group once Mayor Jackson called us together was that prior to that we had, as bankers in town, had formed a Murfreesboro Clearinghouse Association, and Gloria Christie, Bill Shacklett's sister, was sort of our executive director of that clearinghouse, where we would all pool our marketing dollars together, and it was helping us work as a cohesive group of financial institutions. And once Mayor Jackson called us to come to this meeting, I think three banks were represented, financial institutions, and Mr. Weatherford sort of took the rein and said, let's all just continue this as a group, be cohesive in what we're doing, and let's join together as a group. And it became not just a one institution, it was all of us were working together.
And so then we had to actually write the application, and that was where I came in my position in the Community Development Office. Along with that letter, we had to have 72 letters of endorsement from all of our business owners and landowners and building owners downtown. We also had to raise $70,000. And so I said, Mayor Jackson, we just need to have a big community meeting. And let's get Ann Toplovich to come down from Nashville and talk to all of our local business owners and property owners. And she agreed to come, and we put it together. We had a great meeting. The old city council chambers was full, and Ann Toplovich was quoted later in the Nashville Banner as saying, I couldn't believe it when people started standing up and committing their pledges of financial support during the very first meeting. We submitted our application within 2 weeks, and we were thrilled on December 19th, 1984, when we received the letter from the Commissioner of the Department of Conservation, Charlie Howell. And he said in his letter, the reason that Murfreesboro was chosen as a Main Street town was the overwhelming support from the city of Murfreesboro, from Rutherford County, and from all the downtown players. He said that the fact that we were able to raise the money in 2 weeks and put together our low interest loan pool, I think we ended up with 12 banks who decided to go in and help with that endeavor. All of these things added up to make for a successful application. The benefit of working through the Main Street template was the amazing consulting that they provided in helping Murfreesboro set up our Main Street program. They had a very organized way of doing it. There were 4 prongs of their approach. The first one was organization, and that was the first step for us to pull everyone together and to say, yes, we are going to fund a program coordinator to run this program. We're going to raise that money initially, and then we're going to continue to fundraise to keep that position in place where we have one person promoting the downtown. In hiring our program coordinator, we were amazed at the number of resumes that came in. Because Main Street is a national program, we received a notebook full of applications from the state Main Street program, and they were from all over the country. A lot of folks who were interested in historic preservation and downtowns. And so we set up our appointments and our interview commitments with the folks who were interested, and we were amazed when, at one point in time, this young lady walks in to interview in a bright red coat and a bright red hat. Dawn sprinkled her signature energy and enthusiasm and can-do attitude on that interview committee, and she was exactly the person that we needed. And when she left, I remember Bruce Plummer turned to the group and he said, I think we found our program coordinator.
Well, I was just so excited that Murfreesboro was even thinking about doing something like that. I always had a real love for historic preservation, and the whole idea of combining historic preservation and economic development just sounded like it was intriguing, it sounded fun, and just sounded like a great opportunity for both myself for the job, and then also just for the city, more importantly, and what it could do long term to revitalize the downtown area. I think the very first thing I was tasked with doing was just getting to know all the property owners downtown, because of course we had to get buy-in for what was going on. And the 4-point approach is organization, promotion, design, and economic development. And we had to organize. So we had to actually organize the very first board. We had to get our 501c3. A lot of the things that were technical, but very, very important to the success of the program. So I spent lots of time walking around this square, introducing myself to property and business owners, because oftentimes you had a property owner that was not the same as the business owner. So I just got to know everybody as we went along, and of course then starting to organize publicity to let people know what we were doing and why it was important.
That evolved into our historic HDMBA, Historic Downtown Murfreesboro Business Alliance. We began to meet regularly and discuss issues that we were addressing in our downtown, and also provide opportunity for education, opportunities for small business. We really explored creative ways to work together.
The Main Street program came in and explained to all of our participants how important it was to promote our entire 25-block area as one unit. Instead of one retailer advertising their sales, we were going to promote everyone together, and that was going to bring in a lot of new customers.
When the program started, it really looked at the streetscape and making it safe and making it accessible, focusing on the businesses and the vacant buildings and revitalizing what had once been a great downtown, and then it kind of lulled with big box retail and growth outside of the downtown, so the focus came back to the historic downtown. So I think that's in the 80s and 90s where the Main Street program focused.
We knew that if people would renovate their buildings, and many of which were deteriorating downtown, either facades were unpainted, awnings were torn, windows were covered up, and we knew if we could make some changes there that the public could see, that the larger public of Rutherford County could get excited about it. So we had quite a few renovations in those early years. It started a little bit slow, and one of the ones that I remember that was first was Haynes Hardware, and it was really pretty simple. It was a paint job and an awning and just some real basic kinds of design. And I think when people started seeing those changes, they really got on board and got excited. And then really after that, pretty early in the process, we started about a public improvements project. And we knew that public improvements to us were encompassing things like putting utilities underground, improving the sidewalks. We had sidewalks on West Main that were literally 3 to 4 feet from the street to the top of the sidewalk. So they were obviously very inaccessible to handicapped folks, as well as even if you parked, you had to walk half of a block to get back up on the sidewalk. So we knew we wanted to do that, and we worked over a course of about 3 or 4 years to really start to put that process in place.
The Chamber of Commerce was very active in showing us why we needed a Main Street. This was a new program for all of us here. None of us realized that one of their main goals was to take some old buildings and make them as they were in the earlier days, return them to their beauty. Well, one of the things the chamber was doing, they had someone come in from out of town and showed what the electrical lines looked like. Of course, we see them every day, and you don't see them if you see them every day. Well, they showed us how bad those electric lines looked and how Main Street, one of the projects could be to get those eyesores out of the way so that as visitors come to our community to look up history, they'll be more impressed. But even more important, as developers come to our community to put their business right here in the heart of Tennessee, they too will be more impressed. It's those little things that count. And it's all of those little things that Main Street did that has made this truly the heart of Tennessee.
I remember very distinctly, not everyone was on the same page because each business owner was responsible for the expenses to their own property, which was improving that property. And then, of course, the municipality was taking care of putting all the utilities underground and so forth. But when you go into any new endeavor, everybody doesn't jump on the bandwagon right away. So it takes a lot of give and take, a lot of what's the common good going to be in order for this to happen in any community. But again, in spite of its growth, Murfreesboro has always risen to the occasion by working together and people being connected. But there was dissension about, well, I don't want to do it. Well, you can't have the whole side of the square, one side doing it and the other side not improving sidewalks and so forth. But through a lot of hard work and a lot of cooperation and a lot of putting my community in head of what my business interests are, the community came together for that to happen. And it really has magnified now as the city is looking at expanding some of the area behind the City Plaza and the library for creating more affordable housing, which we need to get more residents downtown again.
You know, looking back at the time that I've been mayor and then starting on the city council in 2006, you know, the downtown has really transitioned, and I think I can speak from a city official and really more from a resident that the downtown is really, I think, the gem of Murfreesboro. We've seen all this development, we've seen all this growth and all these new things. You know, you've got lots of building going on at the Avenue on the west side of town, but there's something special about coming downtown and spending your hours and spending your money downtown. And we always try to recruit. We talk about recruiting major corporations and large businesses, but you know, it's not too far from here. I had my first office space in Murfreesboro for my business, and there's just something special about being downtown and about enjoying the camaraderie downtown, the downtown businesses, that makes it just a special place. And so I'm committed, and I think the city is as well. When we talk about all these businesses that come in, most of the businesses that are downtown are all small business owners. These are people who are invested in their community, their families are invested in their community. You'll see them walking downtown, picking up trash, doing things that, you know, typically you wouldn't see in a shopping center. Just people take ownership of the downtown. And the city has really taken that to heart. Over the last 10 years, you know, we've had the Lytle Street improvement. We've had improvements in downtown infrastructure. You've had the county and the judicial building being built. You've seen the city upgrade our civic plaza. You've seen wayfinding projects, all these different things that we've been committed to, and I think you're going to see the city continue to do that. You know, there's an old saying that you don't know where you're going unless you know where you've been, and the downtown just reminds me of where Murfreesboro's been, but also the excitement of what's coming downtown and hopefully what we will continue to contribute as a city in partnering with the Main Street program.
One of the exciting things about Main Street, the Main Street revitalization plan, working with downtown businesses, we're able to do that through our relationship with Main Street. So we don't consider the city and Main Street and the city. We consider it one and the same. All of our goals line up with Main Street's goals and the city's goals are aligned, so that we can actually put forth a good effort of meeting the goals for the downtown area. So we're a great partnership. We have 2 city staff on Main Street purposely. We have an executive director, myself, on Main Street purposely, so that when we're making decisions, we can actually make decisions for the city that will be impactful and quick, so that we don't have to go through red tape to have things done. We can share that with the council, with the mayor, just out of that partnership and moving as one for the good of downtown.
A vibrant downtown is so important to each and every community because it's actually the heart of the community. In Tennessee, Murfreesboro has one of 5 courthouses that are original. Can you imagine how special that is for our downtown to boast an original courthouse? It's also where you can hear the heartbeat and the fabric of the community. It's where people gather on Friday nights in the summer for music, on Saturday mornings at the market. It's where we all come together. It's all about relationships. The downtown property owners, the downtown business owners, the governmental entities, the attorneys and other business, they're like a big family. And so when other people are looking for a new home, when they visit Murfreesboro and they visit Rutherford County, if they take one look at our downtown, they're going to be sold.
My family has a long history in our downtown. My grandfather, Arthur Shacklet, operated a dry goods business on the north side of the public square. My Uncle John had many restaurants in our downtown, including a drive-in. And in 1989, my sister and I took over the operation of Shacklet's Photography from my mom and dad, Dick and Jenny Shacklet. And they had operated a business in the downtown for many years. In the 1930s, a group of civic-minded individuals annually caravanned around Middle Tennessee to tell the story of how special our downtown was. They were the Murfreesboro Boosters. That civic-minded spirit inspired the folks in 1980s that brought together and brought forward the Main Street model.
Well, I mean, I think downtown's important just because you look at cities and you look at communities, and when you talk about going to visit somewhere, you don't really talk about, hey, I'm gonna go to, they have a cool mall, you know, I'm gonna go to look at a shopping center. That's not what people enjoy about a community. They enjoy coming downtown, and as we sit here now, you've got people walking around the square. So I think that's why the downtown is just special.
The downtown is really the heart of our community. Granted, Murfreesboro is the geographic heart of Tennessee in the center, but our community is, sense of place comes in the downtown area. And that's one of the reasons I loved having my offices downtown, but the most special part is living downtown. The excitement, the energy, the ease of getting from one place to another is really special if you can walk out your front door on Saturday morning and go to the farmer's market right there on Saturday morning after you have been downtown on Friday evening once a month with free music. It's one of the things that makes me feel really special about our community, because the entire half of the square is covered with people of all ages, colors, generations, interest in music. And then the first thing the next morning, you can get up and go to the farmer's market and get many of your foods for the week while supporting our local community.
It is a wonderful setting for us, and to see that we have maintained this for 40 years plus and hopefully continue for the next 40 years. It's been one of the most gratifying things that I have done on a community basis, and so thankful for the leadership of Mayor Jackson, the late Mayor Jackson, and my old boss and banker, Jack Weatherford, and how he really took hold and encouraged all of us. There was not competition at that time. It was a group effort, and I appreciate Mr. Weatherford and what he did in making sure that it was a group effort. It wasn't a one bank did this and we're taking glory. No, all of us joined together, and I have to give Mr. Weatherford great credit for that.
Murfreesboro has been called the heart of Tennessee. And I think in some ways, the heart of Murfreesboro is the downtown area. When we think of downtown Murfreesboro, what do we think of initially? The iconic courthouse. I think downtown Murfreesboro was lucky in that not only that the city of Murfreesboro brought Main Street, that both they and the county invested in the program, but both the city and county governments also invested in downtown Murfreesboro during that time period.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking about this before I got here and was really thinking about overall, we have so many great organizations inside the city, but I couldn't think of another organization that has one focus, and it really, that one focus is improvement of the downtown. And we get focused on that to really just think about the square proper, you know, just think about what's on the square. But you know, really when you look at Main Street, the overall program is focusing not just down, you know, in the square, it's focusing on the entire downtown. So you look at the Manny Avenue quarter, you look at the Central Business District, you look at all these things that we've worked on, and we've been able to partner with Main Street to do that. Main Street's focus, and that's probably the best word to use, focus, they're able to bring everyone together to work for one common cause. You know, I've never been in a meeting about Main Street where someone's arguing about a direction that we need to go. Everyone wants the downtown to improve, and that's something that is very unique in an organization especially a nonprofit organization where you're pulled in so many different directions, and I don't see that with Main Street. I see extreme focus on making the downtown a better place.
It's exciting to know that the Main Street Murfreesboro program has received its accreditation every year through the national program. It's something that we have to apply for and meet standards. And I think that's great. It's something to congratulate all the people in the past who have worked with the Main Street, who have volunteered on the Main Street board. We're made up of 20 volunteers. 2 are from the city government, 2 are from the county government. We have representation from the chamber, from MTSU, from local businesses, financial institutions, and it really shows the collaboration that takes place on a grassroots level, where people in our community who are invested in healthy growth, in revitalizing the historic downtown, come together. We meet monthly. We create strategic goals of how we can, as an organization, support the city's goals and entrepreneurs' goals. And so that's what we're working towards, and it's not just one person. It is a whole plethora of volunteers from our community who are really invested in this historic downtown being the heart of our community.
The Main Street program has been instrumental in creating a sense of place by embracing the need to convene different audiences. For example, let's take the September Friday Night Live event, and we decided to call it the True Blue Weekend. We got the merchants to support it, and they were very excited about supporting the MTSU initiative in welcoming our students to the downtown community.
It's neat to see the Main Street program has been successful, and to be able to reap the benefits of all the work that people have put into it the last 40 years, and now to dream up, well, what can we do next? And I think some of our dreams are seeing people walking around more, having more restaurants, making the nightlife be a focus, and that's a success that only comes when individuals invest in the downtown, and we've got that happening right now. We've got all these restaurants that are popping up, and the nightlife is just booming in the downtown. We've got the university 1 mile down, and we're focusing more than ever on how we can bridge that gap, and so there's lots of potential for the future and growth in our downtown.
Dawn and I had talked, and to think that something that started for Murfreesboro just as a call to come into a mayor's office and say, what do you think about us doing something? And 40 years later, it is still flourishing. There's not many things I've been involved with that you start as a community thing, and it keeps growing. It'll grow maybe initially 5 or 10 years, it's good, and then people just forget about it. It hadn't been that way with Main Street, and what's exciting is I see what's happening along Broad Street at Broad and Church, and all the development that is proposed here, and to think that there are so many communities that would give their right arm to have what we have, not only in a uptown district that is vibrant and traffic it's like downtown Nashville sometimes around the square. They'd give their right arm to have what we have, and to see what is on the drawing board for the next 5, 10, 15 years is really exciting. And I'm just thankful, as I think I could speak for all of us that were the initial invitees to be involved in Main Street, to see it continuing on after 40 years is just phenomenal.